On behalf of Archie and myself, we would like to take the opportunity to say Happy Thanksgiving to all. But before you go deep-throating a turkey leg, we need you to go to www.NTTFGPOD.com and subscribe. I'm Rock.
And I'm Archie.
Well, our opinions, they might not matter to some, but...
What are you doing in there?
It's a podcast.
Immature, crass, trashy. And those are their good qualities. These poor schmucks are a couple of IQ points away from eating paste. But when it comes to music, sports, and comedy, well, that's all they know. You're listening to
Not These Two Fucking Guys.
Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
Yo, yo, yo.
What's up, son?
What are you doing?
I am home during the day, sober, and talking to my best pal, Rocco.
Wow. What a fucking warm welcome that is. I appreciate that.
It's a little different than when we talk at night.
Yeah. We don't like each other at night. During the day, best pal. This won't last long, though, I'm sure.
But at night, a beer or two, maybe a little dummy on a gummy.
And there we go. And away we go.
Did you catch Kevin Hart's special on Netflix, new special, Zero Fucks Given?
I did. And the first thing that really wowed me about it was his fucking living room.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be bigger.
Now, do you think there was like a little platform stage there?
Yeah.
Like, is his living room normally set up like a fucking comedy club, or like a show's going to happen there? Or like what?
Those wackadoo celebrities, it might be. Probably not. No, it was probably all nice and staged. You know him, because when he does something 110%. So it was probably all, platform was built. I can guarantee, I don't know why I've been thinking about this. I can pretty much guarantee that all that you saw those people sitting on, it was all rented furniture. Like they put all his furniture in storage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was all rented, and, his movie posters were all up all over
they look nice, and you think like, does he really have all his shit up? Like, it would be cool to display it like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, he might not. We don't know unless that one day we get invited to his crib and we check it out.
That's it. That day's probably coming in the near future.
Near future. What I liked about this special, so I don't mean to be this guy, but it's not his best. It wasn't his best. But it was funny. It had its raunchy parts, like a Kevin Hart special would. It had its laugh out loud type of humor, but I wanted it to be a little more better. Is that a little funnier?
Did you say a little more better?
All right.
You have the balls to fucking say his comedy special wasn't the best, and you can't even speak proper fucking English? What is this world coming to?
I'm tired.
2 jerk-offs and a microphone. That should be our really name for the podcast. I'm sorry, the linguistics expert over here was saying that the comedy special wasn't up to par. Go ahead, you tell.
Listen, I liked the episode. Did I laugh as hard as his other specials? No, but I'm a fan, so I really liked it. I liked it. It was the intimate of his house. I like the topics. Like you can see that his specials are growing with his kids, as he duly notes that, like he's talking about his kids and now they're older and he's like fucking older kid problems and that type of shit. It was good. It was very good.
I'll tell you what about Kevin Hart. He's one of those entertainers that anything he does, I'll watch.
Yeah.
Right. And what it may, it could have been funnier. Sure. Anything can be funnier. I feel that like his mannerisms and like his stage presence keeps you engaged the entire time. Like, and I think that's what I like the best about him.
Every time. No, I don't want him. No. he has that like when he makes fun of his wife or like a girl voice. No. Yeah. He's got like when they do a close up on his eyes.
Yeah.
The bug-eyed look.
The big bug eyes. Yeah.
Let's be honest. Kevin Hart is, fucking the elite of comedians. Everything he does is awesome. But yeah, he had fucking COVID. Nobody knew.
Or as he said, he had the vid.
The vid.
I got the vid up in me.
It's funny because he was referring to Tom Hanks and Kevin Hart had the vid at the same time, but he's like, I ain't gonna put that on the public and have Tom Hanks overshadow me. He's like, you can't fuck with Forrest Gump. No shot. But his special was dope. It was good. You know, I take it back. I don't want to say I wanted it to be funnier, but I don't know. There was something. What special was not the last one, but the one before that. Mm-hmm. I think with the heart in the middle of the stage or something like that. That was just fun. I just remember like laughing from start to end. You know.
Listen, I think it also depends to what environment you're watching it in.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're watching it like on your phone real quick, you're home. You just you had some of the devil's lettuce in you.
Ooh.
Maybe a Shrotsky of old J-Mo.
Gotcha.
Listen, it lightens the mood, right?
Yes, absolutely. But
like, you don't need that to watch comedy, but if they say like, you don't need running shoes to run, but it helps.
Wow. A philosophical Rocco during the day. Wow. Everyone check out Zero Fucks Given, Kevin Hart, out now. Support.
I walk a 100-pound pit bull down the street. I'm a tough-looking son of a bitch, okay? I walk a 3-pound peekaboo down the street. They're looking for my husband walking behind me.
Rock.
What's up, homeboy?
Oh, man. Tonight, we are blessed with the luck of the Irish.
We are.
Our next guest has been seen all over New York City and has been seen regularly at the New York Comedy Club and some shows at Caroline's on Broadway. She's got a monthly show called the I'll edit that one, Transplants Comedy
That's why
Show.
we edit, because he's a fucking stuttering prick.
Her monthly show at the Transplants Comedy Show every fourth Saturday at 7:30 at QED. You could also hear her.
It's not, because there's a pandemic. So it doesn't exist right now.
She doesn't have a monthly show at the Transplants Comedy Show every. Okay. You can also hear her podcast, The Shift, available everywhere. Welcome to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast, the very funny Katie Boyle.
Hi, thanks for having me.
What's going on?
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and for me fucking up that intro. So thank God we edit this shit.
That was funny. You should keep it.
Yeah. Like a lot of things in life. How's everything going? You're in New York City right now?
Yes. Yeah.
We're in Jersey. Not too far. We're about 20 minutes away.
Nice.
How's everything going over there as far as, pandemic shit and,
It's grand. I like the pandemic. I don't want people to die, but I was tired, so.
Time to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. It's lovely if, we can all take that going forward.
Yeah.
So like when there isn't a pandemic, how many nights a week are you out on a stage?
Every night.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Just brushing up on the craft, right?
Yeah, well, with the outdoor shows, we've been out like most nights as well still, but I just haven't been working a day job, so.
So take it back real quick for the people out there that don't know who you are.
It's a lot of people.
Us too, don't feel bad. I'm going down a rabbit hole, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm looking at some comedians, this podcast, musician, athletes, and comedians. We love stand-up comedy, Rocco and I. I'm going down a little rabbit hole. Right, I'm looking at female comedians, and I see Katie Boyle. Now, I'm never heard the name. Clicking, let's go. I clicked from the start, man. Very funny. Your comedy, risque. I like it. Some of it, right?
My dad unfollowed me on Instagram. So.
Where
it took him a while to unfollow. In fairness, I'm surprised he lasted so long. So.
I called Rocco. I said, I think I want to try to get her on the podcast. I think she's very funny. Where you came from, Ireland, obviously, but when did you come over? Why did you come over? And where you ended up in NYC?
I came over because I have an art degree, and I came over to work I like to try and get an art internship, but 6 months in, I hated the art world here, and then I started comedy. That was it. That was 6 years ago.
Really?
So yeah.
Almost like we had Mark Norman on the podcast not too long ago, and he said something like he came over like with a like right, Rock, it was like a film background or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah, we're just all failed artists. Yeah.
So you ended up in NYC 6 years ago, and what made you step on stage the first time? Why?
I went to a comedy show and I saw a woman performing and she was really funny, and I was just like, I want to do that. That was it, really. And then I just started going to a show, and then they let audience members tell a joke, so I got up and did that, and that was it. It was just because, like, this sounds really stupid, but it is similar to art in a way, which I know a lot of comedians would fucking hate. But I mean, I came over from having like a studio space in Ireland to having nothing here, no money, no studio space. The art people were, am I allowed to curse on this?
Of course.
They were kind of cunty. So they were so horrible. And then the comedians are so nice, and I've been hanging out at shows and stuff. And then it's just, you could create something with no means, like I didn't need and I had no money. So, and then, people laughing is like always fun. So yeah, that was it.
How would you compare where you were living in Ireland to here, living wise? Like
I lived in a house in Ireland, with a stairs and a second floor for
and a floor and a roof
for 300 euro. So that's like now I'm $1,000 in a tiny apartment, but I still prefer it because, here nobody knows your business and you're able to be who you want to be. Like at home, it's like a small little town and everybody knows your shit. And you can't really branch out or whatever. So yeah, I prefer New York.
Where are you finding your inspiration? I mean, did you watch comedy back in the day that you would draw from? Like, where are you drawing for your act, your inspiration?
I don't know. I used to watch Irish comedians. Sometimes when comedians are talking about comedians, I feel a bit dense because I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is. Yeah. So
it comes inwardly.
Huh?
So it comes from inward. It just comes from a special place.
Irish people, in general, we've always been storytelling people, and we don't like to talk about our feelings and stuff. We usually use humor to express how we feel. So it's kind of easier, if that makes sense. So plus my dad's really funny. He's super funny. So I talk a lot about him. Really, he should be doing it, not me. But and he's a policeman, so.
Now your family is still in Ireland. Yeah,
they're all in Ireland. Yeah, my brothers and sisters, my parents. So.
Did they ever come back? Or did they ever come over and say, hang out with you here, or do?
My dad does. My dad does. I don't actually speak to my mom. I haven't in 12 years, but she tried to get me cancelled when I went back, but I'm just not that successful. So, but it was nice. I was like, oh, she thinks I'm doing better than I am. She emailed a famous Irish management place, but they don't represent me. So I was like, thanks. They told my friend. But my dad's great. He comes over when he can.
I went on YouTube and I was looking around, and I want to just talk about a couple of things that you have in the works, hopefully still. First of all, I felt fucking dumb myself when I looked at IRL.
You are.
We met IRL.
Oh yeah, I only learned that as well. That's why I used it. I didn't know it meant in real life either. So until I started doing that. So
I'm like this. I'm like, we met IRL. I'm like, all right. Well, here comes the fucking age coming through. All right. So what do? I'm not fucking. I go to the Googs and I fucking look it up, and here we go. All right. So I am fascinated with one of the topics that you like to talk about a lot. I see throughout your social media and YouTube, dating. Even dating apps. Rocco and I, not that we're not too old, but we kind of missed that train where dating apps got big, I don't know, fucking 10 years ago, 8 years ago. We have friends that are like, bro, you gotta see this. I'm on fucking Bumble. Look at this
Swiping
shit.
all day long.
Swiping, swipe. I'm like, I guess that's great. I don't know. So we missed that train for a hot minute. But how do you feel today using dating apps, either yourself or your friends or whatever?
I'm such a hypocrite because I did a series podcast all based on being anti online dating, and now the person I'm seeing I met online. But But it's just hard. I was very against it because, like in the real world, in the normal world, it's just, I would prefer to meet someone in real life. And then there's that whole thing of like, oh, are they still on the apps? And I don't know, it just freaks me out. But in the pandemic, it's the only way to meet people now. So it's actually brilliant.
Yeah. I guess like the world like now fucking evened out with the dating app as far as, well, now you need me. Because because like before, like I work in advertising, and I'd have kids that are younger than me, like probably in their like mid-20s or something like that, and they're always on dating apps. And I go, bro, don't you fucking meet somebody at a bar? He's like, what? I'm like, no, seriously, stop fucking around. Wu-Tang are rappers, and fucking, yo, listen. Just what about meeting somebody face to face? He's like, nah, bro, no, you just swipe. I'm like, okay, I guess this is the way of the world now.
But I even found that when I moved over to New York, that like in Ireland, it was way easier on a night out, like on a session, to get the smooch off somebody because you're going out to smooch. Whereas here, people just go in their little groups and they're like with their friends now. And it was only like the weirdo of the weirdos who would come on to you. And other than that, like it's easier. You would meet nicer people online unless someone introduced you to someone. But I think it's more of an online culture here for sure.
How unauthentic are Irish pubs in the US compared to where you're from?
Very. I actually worked in a pub for years and they called themselves a neo-Irish pub, and it was just a normal pub owned by an Irishman. Just exactly like the ones at home. So yeah, we just have normal pubs at home.
So you said you work, you try to get on a stage every night. Is it basically just working out? Do you work out new material every night, or do you have, like your act and just try to add to it?
I would always do like some of my act, like, cause people pay. So like, and then some new jokes in between as well, so that I can keep growing it. But yeah, I wouldn't just go up with like a whole new, so a bit of both to answer your question. So
let me ask you a question. So you come up with a joke and you put it out there. How many times do you have to like not get like the reaction that you want for you to like all right, this is dead?
I don't know. Sometimes you're like, oof, I'm holding on to that, and only I like it. Get rid of that. So probably sometimes a bit too long, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it's tested anyway. Like usually a joke is tested online. Maybe 3 or 4 times, and then be like, gotta kill it.
How crazy is it that like almost every comedian nowadays, if you just look them up, check a little background, they have a podcast?
Yeah, but it's the only way to make money. Like, if you're doing comedy in New York City, the spot pays are only like $20, $25 a spot.
Okay.
If you're not doing guest spots. And then, podcasts, if you build it, you can make money off advertising or Patreon or all that shite. So everybody has to have a podcast. Told my dad to get a podcast.
Everybody can get a podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll blast your link out too after the episode's done for Patreon. How is that? Because I was talking to Rocco about it. I was like, yo, should we go on it? I'm like, I don't know. Is it something that people should all do? Yeah,
but then it's really hurtful when people delete their payment. It's more. It's
I know nothing about it. That's why I don't know nothing.
So people just sign up and they pay you. Like mine's like just $5 a month or whatever, €5. I don't know what it is, and then. So it's just people who want like extra content, and it's like a fucking ton of extra work, to be honest with you. But then like at the end of the month, you could be getting like $200 extra a month. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a toss up for us, right? We were going to do either Patreon or OnlyFans, right, Arch?
Yeah, do the Patreon. Unless you want to get your dick out, that's fine, I guess. I don't want to get my boobs out.
Yeah, we don't want to embarrass ourselves, so yeah. Like
all right. So speaking of your podcast or a podcast, I did check out your podcast, and let me tell you what the fuck happened. So I go on your podcast. I think I was on like on Stitcher or something, and I was clicking on the play button and I actually wrote it down because I listened to pretty much the whole thing. I heard her vagina cough.
Oh yeah,
Brendan
Sagalow.
So and Steve Mullen. Which is very funny. I actually looked him up afterwards. I was like, oh,
yeah, he's
a funny dude. Argentinian and Irish. What a mix that is. So I was clicking on the play button, and like I guess my computer froze or something, and it just wasn't playing. So then I like skipped down the timeline, right? Rock, you ready for the line? This is what it opens up. It goes, finger in the butt Bro, I think it was it Brendan that said that? If there's a wait,
I feel like it's a Steven thing. He talks about getting fingers in the arse all the time. He loves it.
Okay, like it was like finger in a butt, or if a one night stand. If it's a one night stand, you get a finger in a butt, something like that.
Oh, that's a Brendan quote. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I heard, and I go, oh, the shift. Here we go.
Yeah, we talk a lot about fingers and arses. Apparently, men love getting a finger in their arse, but no man has ever asked me for it. So, do you like getting fingers in your arse?
Well, they're not adventurous, are they?
What about you two boys? Do you like finger in your arse?
That's the first time I heard that over Zoom.
I'm gonna go with no.
Wait, what did you say? You said no?
I'm gonna go with no.
And you said no?
Nah, fuck that. Why not? Sometimes you gotta go down under.
Yeah,
not
but
Australia.
your arse.
Oh, my ass.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I misheard the question.
You should let your missus finger your arse, presuming you've a missus.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we're off with the podcast, I'm going to bring it up to management outside the door. We'll see where it goes.
Well, I don't know. Consistently, somebody on my podcast brings up that men like a finger in their arse and it's unrepresented, that straight men like it. So then every time I'm dating someone, I'm like, do you want me to do this? And they're like, God, no. So I don't know.
Well, some people are adventurous. Some people aren't. I listened on. I said, okay, finger in the butt. The shift has my attention. Here we go. So I listened on, and I've just found it interesting that it led to a part where it was something about if people who may or may not know me are new to the podcast, I've really only started masturbating a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no shit. That just sounds, I don't know, it just sounds different to me. And you're like, I really didn't, and that's I commend you for being that open on your all your platforms. So tell me where the shift came from. It's mostly like a dating or the dating, relationship, sex, that type of podcast, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the steer on it was that, like with the masturbation thing, it's just that there's a lot of shame for women in Ireland and nobody talks about it. But like, guys are like, oh, I just fucking wanked. And it's like over the breakfast, they're saying that, it's so casual. Like guys need to come. And then there's all these like wound up, like my theory is that like women feel shame after sex, So let's say, firstly, you're told that sex is shameful. And no matter what, even if you're in like a progressive thing, there's slut shaming. That's just the way the world is. Even the most progressive women are slut shamed if they have like loads of one night stands and stuff. And then if they go out and have sex and the sex is bad and they don't orgasm, they feel shame. But I think it's more just that you don't know your body and it's anticlimactic. So I think if women were like orgasming and knowing their body, it would feel good. And then you'd be like, this is great. This is like, So, but you just don't tell, they don't even tell us about like the clitoris and stuff like that. So that was kind of my goal, was to like learn about all these things and talk about it openly and comfortably. And since I'm so innocent looking and sounding, then ideally, women like me will be like more comfortable to talk about it and touch themselves. Like we did, like I watched porn for the first time on the podcast, and I got a vibrator for the first time during the podcast. So I went to a sex club. I didn't partake in the sex club, but I still went. So
you're getting the works.
Yeah, just like whatever. I just think like they act like sex is like, I don't know, like it's something so private, okay? And that's fine. It can be private, but if we don't talk about it openly, there's a lot of people not having good sex or not protecting themselves properly. Like a lot of women in Ireland, got HPV and died from it. And nobody knows, because nobody knows what the fuck HPV is. And everybody has it, but they just happen to have the cancerous strain. So it's like, if we're not talking about it, like it's mental. Why wouldn't you? And people get all uncomfortable and grossed out. And it's like, it shouldn't be, it should be just whatever. People have balls. Who cares?
So you're providing a public service, basically, is what you're saying.
Well, and then your father unfollows you on Instagram. So, we'll see. No Irish man will ever marry me because of it. So, they're not going to be like, Mammy, I'm dating the girl from the internet who talks about touching herself every Monday.
Your podcast and your comedy, do you have awkward conversations with your dad? I know you said he unfollowed you on Instagram, but is it like,
I don't even know if he actually did. He called me and told me he was unfollowing me when I did some like "this is where the clitoris is" video. He was like, "That's too much."
Archie,
I've done
go back, listen to that episode. Take notes.
Yeah, and I've done like stories on my Instagram about like a condom getting lost inside me, and he stuck on after that. So, in fairness,
Well,
I'm
he's probably like, well,
surprised.
she's practicing safe sex. What can I say?
Yeah. But he did ask me once to block my brothers because I did a licking balls video joke thing, and he was like, I can't listen to them. They were just like, "Do you hear Katie's licking balls?" But he's cool. Like, he's like very supportive, and I think the fact that we're very close because my mom was such a evil demon lady. He's just like, I'm just glad she's happy, So it all kind of works out. He's like cool. He's like pretty progressive and stuff. So
You're the only girl in your family?
no, there's two of us, and there's three of us and two boys. But I'm the only one from my I'm my dad's first child, and then the rest are from my stepmother.
Gotcha.
I'm sure you heard this a million times, Katie. Smooching. Smooching, right? Irish slang that you're just saying. So how can you give us a couple?
Okay, so for sex slang, you want to hear sex slang?
Yeah.
Okay, so like lick. No, wait, sorry. You say eating out.
Okay,
we
this is
say
it.
lick out. Because eating's weird. I don't want you eating my vag. Lick it. Maybe tug. Maybe nibble. But don't eat it. Oh, like having sex is like ride, like I rode him.
Okay.
But also works as a compliment as well. Like he's a ride. Like he's hot.
Okay.
Actually, a hot person in Ireland now, and it's nothing to do with the reference of white person. It's to do with an Irish word. So crack means fun or good. So you'd say someone's a cracker. Like they're really good looking, but not like that. You're not being like, wow, they're so white. They're great,
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know what else. Oh, shift means kissing. The shift. So the podcast actually means to kiss. So
I wanted to get to that because I had a question. Because I think you did say something about that. You referenced like, I want to shift him, right? Would you say that?
Yeah.
So the shift means kissing. Kissing.
Yeah.
The shift. I like it. How long have you been doing the shift? And talk to us a little bit more about it. Like you're bringing guests on. You have your comedian friends. There was I think you said it was like a Stephen Mullen that was on. Yeah. Talk to us a little more about the shift.
So I started about 2 years ago. What month is it? Okay, so it's November. I think we met in October to talk about it, me and Des Bishop, and then we banged out a few episodes, and then by February we had like put it out there. He doesn't do it anymore because he's like in love now and doesn't have time. So he hasn't done it for a few months, but he'll come back on again whenever he wants. He's great. But yeah, that was it. We just tried to interview like Irish comedians or American people or guests, and it was just meant to be like the difference between the two cultures. Sex wise and shame wise and dating and relationship, as many topics as we can get out of that. So
yeah, well, I like it. I thought it made me blush. I was like, okay. Yeah. I was doing some freelance work. I was listening to it. I was like, oh, all right, forget about it. Here we go.
Yeah, when I first started doing it, like I'd wake up with like huge regret, like what am I doing? Yeah. But now it's fine. It all worked out.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I talk to Rocco and I'm like, what we say is, when we put it out there, it's forever. I mean,
yeah, I know.
So, there's people down the road that are going to look at us and say, not these two fucking guys. What a bunch of schmucks, So.
Yeah, I just for like, this is the other thing with women as well. Men get away with more. I am like when I was doing it, I was making sure, like not meaning to, but like no Irish man will ever marry me because of this podcast, and that's just it. They'd have to be extremely open and progressive, but like I have just so much of my business. It's so open. So American men are a bit more chill with that stuff, but yeah, that was something when I started doing it. I was like, oof, I'm just so open.
A friend once told me you can't put the toothpaste back into the bottle.
Yeah, but fuck it for my career,
right?
I do a lot.
I know we only had you for a short time, but before we get to what any future plans you have, I want to talk about one thing because I thought this was fucking awesome. I went on your website and roast battle.
Oh yeah.
Even though I think you weren't the winner, but I thought it was fucking great though. First of all, in the crowd, I don't know if you saw this, Rock. Can you hear me? You're looking at me like you're fucking squinting.
I can't. Can you hear me? I just had my power flashed on and off. So
schmuck.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Thank God we can hear you.
Thank the Lord.
In the crowd, you got You got Ross Voss. You got fucking Big J. You have Ari Shafir. You got I think there was another. I recognized his voice. Another guy out there that was like pretty big. Like, yo, you're going on stage roasting. I think it was Elijah or something like that. Whatever his name was.
Oh yeah.
And that's gotta be fucking nerve wracking. Like, talk to me about that. That night, at least.
Yeah, I had done a bunch of them before I'd done that one. So I wasn't too nervous and like, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it is a little nerve wracking. Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's just once you get up there, it's fun and it's like adrenaline, and once you have the jokes, you're grand. But actually, that fight was bad for us because they asked us to do it 4 days before.
Okay.
And they told us, because they were asking us so last minute, that we'd only have to do 12 jokes, not the usual 15. And they forgot about that on the night. And so we had both said that we felt they would do that and just forget. So we had extra jokes written, but afterwards you were like, thank fucking God, because that would have been embarrassing, like, you know.
Wow.
Well, yeah, you know, I don't know. It's like, it's a little nerve wracking, I guess. But
well, I mean, you got some big names out there. You got a fucking roast master.
Oh yeah, but none of them mean anything to me. Do you know what I mean? Like,
gotcha.
I didn't grow up with these comics. Like,
like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, like the first time I met Jeff Ross, I was like, he was just really nice, and he just like, I felt like, oh, he's like a cool person. But the first time I met Dez, because he was famous in our country, and he's now a friend of mine, but I was like, oh, hello, you know, like I was like a fucking goofball.
Yeah.
So American comedians, it's not like I don't feel that starstruck or whatever. Like, of course I'd respect, but also like I'm going up there prepared. So I don't know. I don't think about it enough. Maybe I should be more nervous.
No, I hope no. Don't.
Maybe I
don't
should
be.
go back in time.
If it wasn't for that idiot on that podcast, I would have never been so nervous ever.
Yeah. I don't worry about it.
Talk to me about preparation for that. Like, do they usually?
It's a lot of work. I stopped doing them. It's too much work.
Like, how much time do you get to do that?
Usually you'd have a month, but we only had a few days for that one. But I have like obsessive personality, so I'd like be like fucking Googling them nonstop, going through like all their old Facebook photos, trying to find stuff. And I usually have like 50 jokes written for it. So and then you never use them again. It's too much. It's not cool. It's not worth it. I think like a lot of people were doing it because there was the Comedy Central roast and they were trying to get on that, but then there's not really any opportunities in that. And a lot of people, it kind of affected their career. Like some people didn't get the Amazon Prime stuff because of the roasts online and the stuff they said.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So you just have to be careful.
It was fun. I like that one.
It's fun doing them though. You know, it's nice. I like doing them because again, I sound kind of innocent and stuff. So it's like fun to do mean stuff.
Because it's a dynamic, right? The dynamic is you look so innocent. You have a sweet little voice, and then you come at them with, you know, like your penis is small.
Yeah, evil.
like some of the shit that you were saying to him, I was like, oh, all right, damn, got him. It was really cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
What's some of the best things that they've said to you when they're roasting you? Like something that you're really like, ooh, they got me.
Well, I kind of found it annoying because all of the men will always make up that I've had an abortion for some reason. I've never actually had one. I'm pro it. I will have one if anything tries to grow inside me. But I've never had one, and I would give them so much information. But every time I did a roast, they would make like a couple of abortion jokes. So I was like, what is going on? But I think one made a good abortion joke, which again, I haven't had an abortion, but it was something like my vagina being like Brexit. And people trying to drop some pounds or something. I don't know. Anyway, I can't remember. That was a bad one to reference. But it's been so long ago. You guys should have told me before you were going to ask me this. This is like 2 years ago since I did these. I can't. Someone called me a horse girl. I felt like that was relevant.
That's all right. All right. So listen, check this out. I want to know what future plans we have. Where are we going? Are we going to, I mean, I don't know if you watch the news, but they say it's starting to get worse. I don't know how much, stand-up we have in the future. I do see you doing pop-up spots here and there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've done all those.
What's future looking like? Or what do you want?
It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. Yeah, like, the winter will make it hard for those pop-up shows, but just have to, I think comedians will adapt. We're addicted to being on stage and stuff. So you just keep doing it. Like I did a show indoors the other day and it was just like the people were spaced out. Like it was pretty shit. The outdoor shows are better, but it's a good replacement. And then like you can just go where it's sunny. Like maybe some comedians will go to LA. I don't know if I will, but yeah, I don't think comedy's going to die now. And then there's like fucking TikTok and Instagram and these Zoom shows. It's not as good, but it's the outlet, you know?
Yeah.
And acting and sketches. So there's loads of stuff you can do, you know?
Would you like to try that one day? Like getting to maybe be on a show or...
Yeah, I wrote a pilot. Nobody's asking for it, so there's no point in me writing it. I just did it myself,
What's the premise?
It's the Irish girl gets married to stay here. So
now,
yeah.
do you have plans to? I mean, have you shopped it around? Have you tried to get it in the right hands, or
no? Just was like, fuck it, I should write it and learn how to do it and have it in my back pocket if anybody sees me. Like this would have been a good year for me because I was on like some stuff, but who wasn't? But I also think is that like, if it weren't for the pandemic, I wouldn't have done any of this. So like TikTok and stuff like that. So I think a lot of comedians and sketches and stuff like that. But yeah, no, sorry to answer your question. I just wrote it for myself. I'm sure nobody will ever ask me for it.
You never know.
Yeah, it's just good to have in your back pocket, I guess. Plus, it's fun. It's just something else to overwork myself with.
You feel the need or like the pressure to constantly be creating, especially now with the pandemic. Like I need to put out stuff on social to do this, need to do that.
I'm a complete psychopath with that stuff. Yeah, I feel like I need to be doing something all the time. And I'm always doing like, I do TikTok, I do Twitter, I do Instagram, I do Zoom shows, I do all of the outdoor shows, whatever I could do. And even the guy I'm seeing now, this is really embarrassing, but he's a DJ, but I've been like trying to push him into doing DJ TikToks. Like, I don't need to do that. And I'm like, my brain, I'm like, I have like ADD or something. I'm insane. I can't stop. So
you're channeling your inner Gary V. Do you know who he is?
You know what? He just said that to me last night. He was like, you sound like Gary V. And I didn't want to say I didn't know who that was. So I was like, I'll just Google that later. But I forgot to Google it. So I'm going to write it down. Is Gary V a comedian?
Oh, man.
Is he the guy who did the stuff on Twitter?
We're going to change your life right now. You ready for this? Gary V is going to change the way you think starting tomorrow morning.
Well, if I already think like him, then he's not going to change it.
Hold on.
He's not a comedian.
He's not a comedian.
No, he's not a comedian.
He's an entrepreneur.
He's an entrepreneur.
Oh.
And he, as far as advertising and using social media to the best of your ability, personally, you'll win. That's all I'll say. You'll win.
Great. I'm excited.
So definitely check him out, and I bet you'll be even stronger on social media.
A lot too, so it's
he curses a lot.
A good listen.
Okay, good. Well, now I'm glad I can go back and be like, I know who Gary V is.
Katie, thank you so much for taking time out of your night to chill with us.
Thank you.
I think you're like new, for me, new up and coming, awesome NYC fucking comedian that I find very funny, and hopefully one day we'll get out there and check you out.
Where can people find you on the web?
At Katie Boyle Comic on everything. So Katie Boyle Comics. It looks like Katie Boyle Le Comique, but it's not. But I've had it for years, so there's no going back. That's how it reads. That's how it fucking reads. It looks like I'm a fucking French person, and I'm not. So
Katie Boyle Le Comique.
Boyle Le Comique.
Boyle Le Comique.
Everybody messages me about it. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know. You hacks.
Well, me and Arch, we're gonna try to come out to the city and catch a set for sure.
Yeah, I do. It's fun.
Last thing, do me a favor on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being dog shit, don't talk to me anymore, or 5 being not bad. How's my Irish accent? Are you ready?
Okay, go.
Katie, how you doing?
Say more stuff. You just said how you doing.
Okay.
It just sounded like you know.
All right, here we go. Ready? Katie, how are you doing? I just want to let you know I'm doing some comedy. It's not for the money, but it's for the love.
It sounds more Scottish, I think, than Irish.
You sound like when your man, that Scottish guy, pretends to be an Irish person in that movie. What was that movie? The P.S. I love you. Anyway, there's like a Scottish guy and he's trying to do an Irish accent. That's what it sounded like. So yeah, it was a bit Scottish-Irish.
Katie, I'll take a hard 3 on that. Thank you very much for being our guest. Seriously, very, very funny. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope I make it. And then you guys will be like, that was worth 45 minutes.
Awesome. All right.
Bye.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Have a great life. Thank you. Don't get COVID. Bye.
Bye-bye. That right there was a lot of fun. I mean, it's not every podcast episode I could talk about my arse. The Shift podcast, you can find her at katieboylecomic.com. Katie Boyle, hopefully we get to see her out in the venues soon when this bullshit quarantine is over. For that being said, Rocco, tell the people what they want to hear.
If you'd rather be on a yacht than sitting in your mom's basement smoking pot, and you think it's fucked up, that's considered eating outside when you're in a closed off tent in a fucking parking lot, then you're listening to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
We out.